back to my channel. Today I'll be showing you how to make a jacket and a pant together, like a blazer jacket and a pant. So for that I'll be using this fabric, tape and scissors and chalk. So let's get started. So guys, I've folded the fabric this way, and the first thing I'm going to do is to cut the back of the jacket before the front of the jacket. So for that I'm going to measure first the length I'm going to be using for this, which is 3 inches, which is 23 inches, sorry. And then I'm going to add extra 4 inches to it because I want the back to come over to the front. So that will be 1, 2, 3, 4, and then plus my seam allowance. So in total I'll be using, I'll give it about 1.5 seam allowance and then extra half inch. So in total I'm using 29. So I'd rather have extra inches at the length for the length than to have less. But this is the original length I want it to be, which is 23. And then I added extra 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to it, 6 inches in length. So after that, the width, the widest part of this jacket is the bust area, which is 36. 36 divided by 4, that is 9. 9 plus 1 inch for ease because it's jacket is 10, and then plus extra 1 inch is 11. So 11 inches here. So for the shoulder I'm working with is 17 divided by the shoulder I'm going to be working with is 15. 15 divided by 2, that will be 7.5. So I'm going to mark 7.5 here, and then I'm going to come down and mark my armhole. The armhole I'm working with is 20 by 2, that is 10. So which means I'm going to stop from here. I'm going to stop here at 10, and then I'm going to mark like this mark here. I'm going to start with the back of the blazer. I am not going to start with the front. So the back, this is the back panel here. So for the neckline here, I'm going to mark around 3 inches here for the width. That's from this end to this end, 3 inches. And then I'm also going to come down 3 inches from the top to the bottom. So here. And then I'm going to mark it this way. Come down here, mark 1 inch here, connect it to the shoulder for my shoulder slant. And that's basically it. I'm going to cut this panel out. So guys, I've gone ahead and cut out the panel for the back. So that was the first thing I cut out. So now to cut the panel for the front, I'm just going to put this here on this fabric here, right? And I'm going to give it extra 5 inches at the center front here. Extra 5 inches, and the 5 inches is so that I can be able to fold it in. Like I'm still going to fold it inside of the shirt, so you'll see that when I'm sewing it. So here, around 5 inches from the center, because this is going to be the center back for the back panel. So this is going to be the center front for the front panel. So I'm going to check how many inches I have and make sure it's like up to 5 or 4 inches. So yeah, I have around 5.5. I think that should be okay for me. So now what I have to do is to trace out this front panel on this here. So for that, see where my neckline is. So I'm going to cut out all of this here, this neckline here. I'm just showing you the easiest way to make this jacket because it's a loose fitting jacket. And then trace out the neck, the shoulder, everything. I'm going to trace it out here. But the only difference between the front and the back now is this 5 inches that I added in front. And then also I'm going to reduce the length by, the 4 inches I added to the back. I'm not going to add it to the front. So my length in front is going to be 23, which is the normal length I'm working with, and then plus the extra 2 inches for my seam allowance. So that's going to be around 23, 25. So 25 is going to be my length for the front of this shirt. So I'm going to mark the 25. if what I'm saying is that the back you add 4 inches plus extra 2 inches. The front you only add your extra 2 inches for folding of the ends of the shirt. But the back you add 4 inches and then extra 2 inches for the folding. So now I'm going to cut out my front panel. I removed the back panel, so now I'm going to cut out what I traced for the front. So I'm just going to hold it down with this and then cut it out. And then after cutting it out, I'm going to split open this side because this is my center front. So I'm going to trace. So this is the back, this is the front, and then this is the back of the shirt. As you can see, the front is wider than the back. So what I'm going to do now, the first thing I'm going to do is to place this here on top of this here, and then this piece in front, this extra 5 inches that I left here, what I'm going to do is to fold it inside before I even start sewing, so it doesn't confuse me. So I'm going to fold this in and notch this point here so that I can know where the 5 inches is at the neckline here. I'm going to notch this point here. So now that I've notched it, when I go to sew, I know where the 5 inches starts. So when you go to sew it, you put it this way, right? And then you can see your notch that you made here. So you flip this in. This is going to be inside of the jacket, right? Because this is just a summer jacket. It's not going to have any lining. So this is going to be the neckline here. So this is going to be folded in so that when I add my neckline, when you open it up this way, you could already see the lapel is forming on itself, if you could see. So that's why I added this piece of cloth to fold inside about 5 inches inward, so that when you open it up, your neckline is already formed with this same fabric here, as you can see here. So this is the back of the shirt. So, but before that, let me cut the trouser too. Let me cut the sleeve of this jacket. What I'm going to be using for the sleeve, I cut 2 of them here. So the length of this is, the length of the sleeve I want to make is 17, but I made it 20 so that I can have enough to fold it in. So I want it to have a thick band, not just ordinary fold. So that's why I made it 20, but the length I'm working with is 17. So this is what I'm using for the sleeve. So for my sleeve, I'm going to check first the armhole divided by 2. So my armhole divided by 2 is around 10, which is 20. But I'm going to make this in form of a shirt, so I know I'll need extra 1 inch for it. So I added extra 1 inch, that's 11. So I'm going to explain this when I get to that point, but I'm just cutting the sleeve because of the video. So I just added 1 inch. You can add 1 inch if you divide your armhole by 2. You can add 1 inch to it just to be safe. So, and then you mark your sleeve just as if you're writing an S, like you mark it down this way, to meet the line that you made. So that's what I'm going to make here. But before that, you check that 3 inches, you mark 3 inches down, give your armhole line, and then mark the S that I was talking about. So you mark it this way. So that's basically it for your sleeve. Just make sure you keep marking it until it looks perfect to you. So then you check. I have a video on how to make how to cut the sleeve. So the next thing I have to do is to check the width of the sleeve that I'm working with. So the width I'm working with is 12. 12 divided by 2, that will be 6. 6 plus 1 inch for seam allowance, that will be 7. I'm going to give it extra half an inch for ease, so that will be 7.5 here. So because this is a jacket, it doesn't have to be fitted. So that's, I'm working with 7.5 here. So what you have to do is, because this is the end that you fold into the sleeve, you pull it up this way and mark the 7.5 still. So where is the 7.5 I marked, which is here, right? Mark it up this way before you start cutting. Just mark up the extra inches that you added, which is around 3 inches. And then from here now, you could just mark it this way to join this line. You could use a ruler, place it, and then mark this way. I know this would still be too much, but you shape it when you go to sew. So now I'm going to cut this out. It's too bulky, so I'm going to open it up. The reason why I did this way is just to make this point straight, because it's going to fold in inside of this shirt. But remember, if you cut it this slanted, when you go to fold it in, this end here that you're supposed to fold it will not reach to the end of the sleeve. So that's why it's better to fold it up already and then check the length you're working with and then start cutting it out. So I'm going to cut mine out now. So guys, this is my sleeve. I have 2 of them here. So now I'm going to move over to the trouser, the pants. So guys, now I'm going to make the pants. So for that, what I'm going to do first is to check the length I'm working with, right? So this is a pencil pant and it's not full length, it's just above the ankle. So the length I'm working with is 39. So I'm going to give it extra 2 inches at the end, so that will be 41. So I'm going to mark my length first, so at 41. And then the widest part of the pant I'm working with is 43. And 43 divided by, I'm going to be working with 43. 43 divided by 4, that will give me 10.75. But I just approximated it to 44 so that I can have some ease in the pant. So 44 divided by 4, that will give me 11. So first you check the widest part of the pant, which is the hip, like I said. So mine, I'm working with 44 divided by 4. So that will give me 11. As you can see, I'm not giving it any room. I'm not giving it any seam allowance. What I just gave was ease in the pant because the pant is not a tight fitting pant. So 11, and then I'm going to come down and check the crotch I'm going to be working with, which is around 10.5. So I'm going to mark 10.5 here, right? And then so 11 this way for the hip, and then I have about 2.5 inches for the crotch here. So this is the front panel of the pencil pant I'm working with. So this is my hip line, just so let me make it more visible. This will be my hip line. So this is the hip, and then I'm going to come down here. This is where my ankle is going to be at the end of the pant here. As I didn't do anything for the waist of the pant because I'm just going to give it a dart and it's going to have elastic at the back. I've already made a video on how to make this particular pant that I always talk about, that has a band in front and elastic at the back, but I'm still going to explain it better in this more in this video. So I'm going to come down at this part where I have the ankle. I'm going to just mark my ankle divided by 2 by. So guys, after marking the hip line, the next thing you have to do is to mark about 1.5 inch here for your crotch area, and then you mark 1.5, and then you give it extra half an inch for seam allowance at the crotch. So I'm going to mark mine now, and then from here, after doing this, you're going to connect it this way for your crotch here. And then your hip that you divided by 4, you know you divided your hip by 4 to get from this point here to this point here, right? So for me, I have 44 as hip. Remember 44, and then I divided it by 4, which is this 11 that I have here. And then this 11 that I have here, what I have to do is to divide the 11 by 2. So that gave me 5.5, right? So that's how I marked 5.5 for my hip here. So this will be the center of the pant, right? So you're going to mark this line all the way down from this point here, down all the way to the end here. So if you don't have a ruler to make sure that your line is straight, you can just go, whatever you got as half here, you can just keep marking it down all the way to the end. So as you can see now, after marking it, I can now connect my dots because I don't have the ruler. And then after that, you come down to your ankle. whatever you got as the length, the width of your ankle. Mine is 12 round the ankle. You divide it by 2, so that's 6. You mark, you put like the 3 is half of 6, right? You put it here and then mark half of 6 here and then half of 6 on this side. So that's how what is going to give you, like from this point to this point is going to be the 6. But make sure that this line is at the center of your whatever you got here. After that, you give it 1 inch for seam allowance on this side, another 1 inch for seam allowance on this side, and then from here you connect your line to the extra half an inch or 1 inch that you gave at your crotch here. So now you connect this same 1 inch to the extra half an inch you marked here. So I don't have a ruler, so I'm just going to use my tape and then just trace on it and mark all the way to the seam that I made there. If you have a ruler, that would be perfect, but I don't have the ruler, so I just trace mine. So after that, you do the same thing for this end here. The extra 1 inch that you gave it here, you're going to put your tape all the way to the point here, right? So from here, this is my 1 inch, this is the 6, this is 1 inch. So I'm going to mark it. I know this side will be tinier, so just a little bit. Mark all the way. And then now this is the front panel for my pants, so now I'm going to cut it out. So I'm going to start from this line, cut it out this way, and then so guys, I've cut mine open. When I got to this point, I just split it open because at this point there was nothing else to cut out. So I've finished this front panel. So for the back panel, I'm just going to do the same thing, just with a little bit difference. What you have to do is to fold your fabric over again.